If I asked you to find 5 key locations in a 3-mile radius that commemorate Scotland's, you might even say Britain's, matriarchal queen, could you do it? And if you tried, would you start by looking in this car park? If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and click the thumbs up at the end to let YouTube know if you enjoyed this video. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. Does this seem like a strange place to start a search for our most important medieval queen? She's not in this car park, but below ground, right underneath my feet. Come with me as I tell you about Queen Margaret, Scotland's saintly queen. Beneath this car park was a 60-foot deep valley that in 1962 the council decided should be built over to make way for modernity. The problem was that there was something in that valley that was precious to our history. You might even say it was sacred. Of course, there were objections. They didn't stop the car park, but at least they preserved the location underground. This is the first place that I want to take you in search of Queen Margaret, who became Saint Margaret. She was descended from the English-Saxon king Ethelred the Unready and great niece to Edward the Confessor. She'd spent many of her formative and educational years in a Benedictine nunnery in England, and she'd planned to be a nun. But this bride of Christ ended up married to Malcolm Canmore, the rough, tough Celtic monarch who had overthrown Macbeth. But often she would disappear from the tower that was their home here in Dunfermline. Malcolm asked folks to keep an eye on her. Apparently, she left the tower by a different route each time to keep snoopers off her track. That made Malcolm even more suspicious. So he gave orders for her to be followed more closely. If they wanted to follow her today, there'd be just one route, down through the Nissen hut-like coverings that curve and extend to the point underneath the car park where we stood earlier. And when they got there, they'd find a cave and a young queen in prayer. Margaret's biographer tells us that in praying, she would pour forth her tears. Only her body was then here below. Her spirit was near to God, for in the purity of her prayer, she sought nothing but God and the things which are God's. This is Margaret's cave, and it was to here that she came for peace, prayer and solitude. It's a truly unique place in an unexpected location. You can come here on guided tours on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays to the place this transformative queen came 1,000 years ago. Whether for good or for ill, there are lots of ways she transformed the Scottish Church, but I'll give you just one. They tell me that it was Margaret who took the day of Sabbath, so revered by austere Presbyterians later, and changed it from Saturday to Sunday, changing local Celtic tradition to fit in with the orthodoxy of her Church of Rome. But where was it that Margaret had been escaping from to hide out in prayerful contemplation? Well, just inside Pittencrieff Park, no more than an 8-minute walk, depending on which of the many routes she had taken, is a location of Malcolm and Margaret's tower. There's very little left of the 14th century version now, but the original, perched on top of a craggy cliff overlooking the stream flowing through Pittencrieff Park today, is where the town of Dunfermline gets its name. Dunfermline, the hill fort of the steep waterfall. Our biographer, Prior Turgot of Durham, tells us that it was here that Margaret, inspired by her Benedictine upbringing, ordered that 9 orphans who were utterly destitute should be brought to her at the start of each day so that she could feed them from her own spoon. At Christmas, she and Malcolm would wait upon the poor and serve them with food and drink. Also, throughout the course of the year, Margaret insisted that wherever she lived, 24 poor people should be there for her to wait upon. Wherever she went, they would accompany her. Now, I don't know if it occurred to anyone, but maybe the reason they were poor is that following her around all the time made it damn near impossible to hold down a job. Maybe I misread that. So how did she come to be here in the first place? The legend goes that Margaret was with her brother Edgar Atheling, the Saxon heir to the English throne, when they fled from the forces of William the Conqueror, the new Norman King of England. They were shipwrecked out there in the Forth and welcomed in by Malcolm, who, spying the beauty, persuaded her to forget about the whole nun thing and become Queen of Scots. I'm sceptical. But the saintly Margaret does have a more important link with the Forth estuary. You see, up the Fife coast was a town called Kilryman, or Kilreven. It had become a place of holy pilgrimage because of the apostolic bones kept there. Margaret not only endowed benefits to St Andrews, but since the Church of St Andrews was much frequented by the devout who flocked to it from all quarters, she erected dwellings on either shore of the sea which divides Lothian from Scotland, so that the poor people and the pilgrims might shelter there and rest themselves after the fatigues of their journey. She had arranged that they could there find all that they needed for the refreshment of the body. Servants were appointed, whose especial duty it was to see that everything that might be required for these wayfarers should always be in readiness, and they were directed to attend upon them with all diligence. Moreover, she provided ships for the transport of these pilgrims both coming and going, nor was it lawful to demand any fee for the passage from those who were crossing. Those dwellings, erected by Queen Margaret on either shore of the ferry that she set up all those years ago, are what became North Queensferry and South Queensferry. And it's why the third of the magnificent bridges that we see today is called the Queensferry Crossing. So if she did arrive in the Forth because of a shipwreck, where did she then go? Legend has it that Margaret's refugee group landed in a cove just east of Rosyth Castle. It is a sheltered, safe retreat for tempest-driven vessels meet, and ever since that day so famed, St Margaret's Hope, it has been named. It was a 4.5 mile walk to Malcolm Canmore's tower where we were earlier, and noble though they might be, they had to go on foot. Now, apparently, halfway there, Margaret needed a rest, and she leaned for a while on this stone. It didn't have the inscription at the time. But then again, it wasn't on the edge of an industrial estate then either. Apparently, it stood in the middle of an old Bronze Age settlement. Its exact meaning shrouded in time. And while that settlement was covered over, the stone remained until 1856, when it was moved to allow for a road widening. It's been moved again since then, until we find it here on the edge of Dunfermline today. But this wasn't the last place Margaret rested. Just before we head to Margaret's resting place, let me tell you that this is one of the key places that I bring people when I take them on tours of Scotland. And I'm bringing an intimate group of up to 25 guests in April 2025. You could be one of them. As well as this hallowed place, you'll see where Scotland was born. You'll walk Hadrian's Wall and the Isle of Skye, from prehistoric sites to our greatest castles, from stunning Glencoe to gloomy Culloden. But I'll cheer you up halfway through with a comedy show, and I'll send you off with a ceilidh to finish. Meals, hotels, entry fees are included in an all-encompassing package. If you want to find out more about this never-to-be-forgotten experience, then click the link top right or the one in the description below, or email alexis@scotlandhistorytours.co.uk. Dunfermline Abbey is the 12th century Norman structure built over the 11th century Benedictine priory that Margaret had built, on the spot where she and Malcolm were married. That Benedictine upbringing wasn't going away. Neither was Margaret. 150 years after her death, she was made a saint by Pope Innocent IV. Numerous prenatal Scottish queens and noblewomen came here to ensure the saintly Margaret's blessing on their birth, which is why 7 Scottish kings were born here. It was also the resting place of Margaret herself. Her shrine was originally placed here at the screen between the nave and the choir. But now a saint, she got an upgrade to the place of honour at the high altar. That was here. And you can see the remnants of walls from the original building. What's missing is the pillars and painting and colour that would have surrounded this marble base. The 16th century saw the Roman church that Margaret had worked so hard to bring to Scotland come crashing down in iconoclastic destruction, taking shrines and buildings like this with them. When the new Presbyterian Abbey Church was built here, Margaret was left out in the cold. But you can still find her here and in the other locations around Dunfermline that I've shown you. So why not take a day out to search for Scotland's saintly queen? Oh, but do you realise the incredible impact her daughter made in the British Isles? You really should watch my video about the Saxon nun who changed Scottish history. All you have to do is click the video coming up on screen now. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member, or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, ha mé an dóchas gún bí lama alive. Cheery and drasta.